On today's episode, we're making arancinis. Don't forget to click that button and subscribe. We'll begin by dicing half a large white onion, along with 2 to 3 cloves of garlic. You can put as much or as little as you like. Adding 2 tablespoons of a neutral oil to a medium-high heat wok, and you will be adding half of your diced mixture, reserving the other half for your meat fillings. Where they're slightly translucent, you will be adding 2 cups of your arborio rice, and you will toss that around again so that they get a great coating before starting to add some of your vegetable broth or chicken broth, any type of broth liquid that you'll be using to slowly cook the rice. You will be continuously adding the liquid and stirring non-stop until you get the perfect cook. I go for al dente. Don't forget to season and add some white wine. And continue stirring. To achieve the perfect white wine risotto, you want to continuously taste and re-season as you go along. A full list of the ingredients and directions will be found in the video description. And once your rice is fully cooked and to the consistency that we are trying to reach, which is a perfect al dente, you will then be transferring that rice onto a baking sheet so that you can spread it out, place it in the fridge or in the freezer, however fast you want to cool this down, so that when you manipulate it, you will not burn your hands. Next up is going to be the meat mixture. We're going to be starting off with the same base, 2 tablespoons of a neutral olive oil, and you'll be adding the rest of the onions and garlic that we chopped up earlier. And you want to mix that around and let that sweat out for a minute or two before adding your choice of meat. In this case, I am choosing a lean ground beef, combining it all together and cooking it through. And I will be adding some white wine to the mixture and also a bit of a tomato sauce. You can also add tomato paste, use what you have at home, and what you'll be doing is cooking this so that the alcohol evaporates and that any liquid left over evaporates, because you want to have this like a meaty ragu texture, and then it's ready to chill as well in the fridge before assembling. So now that we've had the risotto chilled in the fridge, and as well the meat filling that's right here, you want to make sure that it's chilled so that you can manipulate and handle it with your hands and not get burned. So what I'm doing is I'm adding a cup of frozen peas to the meat mixture, and I'm going to mix it all in. And what you want to do is add them in frozen, because you don't want to add the peas in once you're cooking the meat mixture, because then they'll get soggy, and you don't want a mushy peas. So your peas are always added to the mix at the end once everything is chilled. And then once you assemble, you are going to get the perfect bite of pea. So your peas are added to the meat mixture. You can make this vegetarian also and add your peas to the rice as you wish. I'm just making mine with meat. And then for the rice, what I usually do is I would mix in the mozzarella and mix it all together so that every arancini, when you pull it apart, will have that stringy gooiness. I know a lot of people will cube up the mozzarella or any type of cheese of choice that they do. I, on the other hand, choose to do it shredded and I mix it up. I could have mixed this up in a bowl, but I usually mix it up at the end, because if I mix it up when the rice is hot, what happens is it will melt right away and will end up getting a clump when it's cold and out of the fridge. So I mix in the mozzarella once the rice is cold. And I'm also gonna add some Parmesan cheese, a little bit sprinkled over the rice mixture. You could put as little or as much as you want. I just sprinkled in a little bit, and then I'll manipulate it when I go in with my hands. So what you want to do, very important, is always have a bowl of water Why? Because it'll help not let the rice stick to your hand when you're forming these arancinis. We will dredge them first in flour, then egg, and then a mix of a panko and Italian breadcrumb mix. That's what I did. I did Italian breadcrumb with also some panko, which is gonna give the best crunch when we fry them. So I'll start off by using a scooper just to make sure that everything is nice and uniform in size. And I'm gonna make sure that my hands are wet so that I can manipulate and work the arancini and that it won't get stuck to my hands. So again, the scooper, it's as you wish if you wanna eyeball it, but this just makes sure that you end up having the perfect size arancinis. What you wanna do is you wanna press a little well in the middle here. And now I'll be going in and putting a little bit of the meat filling here. And you don't wanna put too much, but just enough. And if you want, you can put a little few more strings of cheese. And then what you'll do is you'll go in, you'll put a little bit more of the rice on top, making sure your hands are always wet. And then you'll start to close it up. Careful, and you're slightly closing it up, and you want to make sure that you have no little holes anywhere, which you don't. So this is your perfect arancini size. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna lay it on a cookie sheet here first, and I'm gonna continue the steps until that's fully lined up. I'm gonna put it back in the fridge, just in the freezer actually, for about 10 minutes so that they can just firm up a little bit before dredging them, to make sure that nothing falls apart in the dredging process. And that's as simple as it is for making an arancini. As mentioned, you could have had cubed pieces of cheese. I end up shredding mine and adding it to the rice mixture because I find that it makes the pull apart when you bite into it a lot more stringy instead of just having one big glob of cheese in the middle. And if you have any meat showing, you just go in and you can fill it up with a little bit more rice. But they make the perfect uniform little balls. So you want to start by rolling it in flour. And then the egg, and that's what's going to help the egg stick a little bit better. And then you're going to put it in the breadcrumbs. Always try to keep one wet hand and one dry hand. Roll it around, press it lightly in, and there we go. Then you just repeat the process. And here you go, perfect crisp arancini. Let's look at what it looks like in the inside. And this is what I mean by shredding the mozzarella. It comes to a beautiful bite. So perfect. Whoop. And with some nice marinara sauce. Buon appetito. Delicious.
It's so good.